Welcome back to the Gathering Hour. I'm not Josh.
I am also not Ash.
This week we'll be covering something that may seem obvious, but is it really? We're talking about card playability today. As always, I'll be sharing a half-baked brew, and Josh here is gonna be highlighting another Kitchen Table Junior Edition.
Ooh, it's about to get swampy.
Swampy.
All right, for tonight's meal, let's start off with the appetizer. Ash is going to do another one of his half-baked brews. Last week we heard about 4-color plus 1 prowess.
Yes.
What have you got for us this week? And second question, can we keep it to less than 4 colors? I think I already know the answer from the grin on your face.
That depends on how you define 4 colors.
That's a no.
No.
That's a no.
Look, so the spells you are planning on casting fall within 3 colors.
Oh, good.
The spells within the deck, well, that's about 6 colors. So don't even worry about it.
Purple.
Actually,
Is purple making a comeback?
No, it's some wingdings on an Eldrazi.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Wingdings.
Anyway, so this deck. Oh wait, no. Oh no, yeah. We got Cause Like the Great Distortion in here. We're good. I wasn't
perfect.
Lying. I thought I got confused on another deck there. No, so the deck I am showcasing is the word I will choose to use today. Is
that you've half baked.
Half baked. Actually, this one almost is a full list.
Okay.
This is 4 Horsemen combo.
Breaking the format here.
4 Horsemen combat.
Oh, jeez.
Combo.
What?
So, anyone not familiar with 4 Horsemen from, I want to say Legacy Vintage?
Yeah.
Probably Legacy.
Legacy
is it's a combo deck of questionable legality due to the fact that the main combo pieces, as you're performing the combo, may or may not advance the board state in any way.
Yeah, usually not.
No, they straight up do not.
They straight up do not, right?
And
that's what I was getting
unless
at.
you mill exactly Narcomoeba.
Judge.
Anyway, the point is you will not be able to... you don't advance the board state. You just keep milling yourself until you mill a certain combination of cards, and you have Emrakul in your deck, so it shuffles itself back in until you mill the correct combination of cards.
Right.
So you get slow play warnings and penalties. My version, well, here's the thing. I figure because Canadian Highlander, due to the gold-bordered nature of the format, I figure, well, it has to be run at a casual REL, right? So maybe I can talk the judge into letting me say, or just tell my opponents what will happen, and then
letting you do it.
They'd be like, here, I can show you my whole deck. I'm just going to mill it till I hit this combination of cards and kill you. Sound good? Great. So this isn't a half-baked...
You think Scott would go for that? I don't think he would.
I don't think he would, but I'm going to ask him because this deck is actually really sweet. Let me tell you.
All right.
So the way the combo works is you get Basalt Monolith. Are you familiar with Basalt Monolith?
Lots of manas.
Yeah. And then Mesmeric Orb. Are you familiar with Mesmeric Orb?
Less than.
Okay, that one is a 2-mana artifact that says whenever a permanent becomes untapped, its controller mills a card.
I see.
So Basalt Monolith, you know, it taps for 3 and you pay 3 to untap it. So you can infinitely just tap and untap your Basalt Monolith.
I see.
Yeah. I think it says you can't use that mana from itself. No, it doesn't say that. I think the original one did. Doesn't really matter. Point is, you can just, using those 2 cards, you can mill yourself 1 card at a time. So, what your goal as the 4 Horsemen player is you also have, you have multiple cards that mill themselves, or that shuffle themselves back into your deck and your graveyard. But your game plan is you need to mill specific cards before you mill Emrakul or anything else that shuffles your graveyard.
Okay.
So you need to mill your Lingering Souls. You also need to have mana to flashback Lingering Souls. So you need to mill your Lingering Souls.
Which is how much?
1 and a black.
1 and a black. Okay.
Yeah. So you need to mill
your
Lingering.
I thought it was 2.
Nah, yeah, it is 2. You need to mill your Lingering Souls. You need to mill your Dread Return, which is a reanimation spell that flashes back for sacrificing 3 creatures.
Right.
You need to mill your Narcomoeba, which puts itself into play.
Puts itself into play automatically.
And
Love it.
Yep. And then you need to mill your Sharum the Hegemon.
That is a Sphinx, is it not?
Yeah, and when it comes into play, you basically reanimate an artifact.
Okay.
And you also have to mill a Blasting Station. Blasting Station is an artifact that whenever a creature comes to play, you untap it, and you tap it to sacrifice a creature and shoot your target creature or player for 1 damage.
Okay.
So, once you successfully get those cards in the graveyard, alright, you will flashback Lingering Souls and sacrifice your Narcomoeba to sacrificing those 3 creatures to flashback Dread Return, bringing Sharum back to play. Alright?
Okay.
The Sharum triggers bringing your Blasting Station back to play.
Okay.
So now every time you have a creature into the battlefield, you can tap and sacrifice a creature to shoot something.
Right.
So now,
Narcomoeba,
yes,
went to the okay.
You sacrifice your Narcomoeba, and then you keep milling to hit Emrakul, shuffle your deck back together, and then you keep milling to hit Narcomoeba again. It comes into play
again.
And you keep doing that until they die. Questionably legal. It's not. It's really not.
In like other games, people would call that the cheese. I mean,
no, it used to be a legacy deck.
It works really hard to just like not play fair Magic.
Okay, let me. Can I tell you what?
I mean, it works really, really hard.
Can I tell you what attracted me to this deck?
Yeah, what?
Well, besides the fact that it's questionably legal, so of course I thought that was funny.
Right.
But what's really attractive about this specific combo deck is it's really hard to interact with once they start going off.
Right.
Because
so it's hard to counter certain things because you're countering like activated abilities.
Yeah.
Not spells.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can counter the Lingering Souls when they
Which,
flash
the countering activated abilities and triggers and things, they're out there, but, I mean, how often do people run those? You know, it's very
not
niche.
as frequent. And like I said, it can go off. If you get a Ancient Tune, you can if you get super lucky, you can go off as early as turn 2. Like I said, very unlikely, but it is possible.
Right.
Well, okay, that's not true because you can go off as early as turn 2 in Legacy because you have 4 Narcomoebas, so you don't need Lingering Souls. But in this version, you have to have Lingering Souls. So I guess if you theoretically get a Soul Ring, you can go off in turn 3. Go land Soul Ring. Land Soul Ring, Mesmeric Orb. Land. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. No, you can. Your second land just has to be an Ancient Tune.
And this is why it's half baked.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. No. Point is, this deck's actually really cool because it has a lot of. So both combo pieces are artifacts, and they're both either CMC 2 or 3. So you actually have a large number of tutors that can find them, because you get all 3 Transmute 2 and all 3 Transmute 3 spells.
Right.
Which help you find them. You get Whir of Invention.
Okay.
All right. You
get familiar with that one.
You get actually in this list I'm currently playing Demonic Tutor and Enlightened Tutor, which both get it. Fabricate gets them both. I think you could play like Transmute Artifact if you weren't as broke as I am.
Okay.
And like another one.
All of the cantrips.
Yeah, you get to play a million cantrips. This list doesn't have all of them on there right now. But
all right, so riddle me this.
Yeah.
This is not my first.
Your forest.
My first. I'm looking at your list. This is not my first time kind of looking at similar decks. You know, it's been a while since we've talked about the 4 Horsemen combo. Why is it called 4 Horsemen?
I could not tell you.
Because the only thing that there's Ashen Rider in there.
There's not in my list. There isn't. Oh wait, there actually is, but I'll get to that. That's
remember that part where I was looking at your list? I was
about
looking
that.
at your
I'm
list.
pretty sure. Actually, I think the Ashen Rider is an Archeon. Archon. Archeon.
Archon. It's Archon.
It's an Archon. But I believe. I have no idea.
Okay.
No hard and fast idea. My guess is that it is an Archon, by the way.
I know, because I just looked it up.
I was
You're
telling
welcome.
the viewers.
Oh, right.
I guess they would have seen it on screen by now. It's fine. But I feel like it might have been that because the Legacy version, you needed all 4 Narcomoebas. Well, technically only needed 3, but you played all 4 Narcomoebas.
Right.
I think that
way you hit them more often.
Well, I think that way if one gets swords, you're still fine.
I see.
Because I don't know if you knew this, but in Legacy, people play Swords of Plowshares.
Really? I didn't know that.
I thought you might not know that. But, yeah. So that's my guess. I don't actually know that.
Okay, so what happens in...
Don't ask.
Canadian Highlander?
Don't ask.
If your Narcomoeba gets swords.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So, now...
Or Path to Exile.
Think about it this way. What?
Because Path to Exile also...
What are the two... What's the most common factor between the two main combo pieces I told you about earlier? The ones you actually use tutor for. Mesmeric Orb and Basalt Monolith.
They're an artifact.
They're both artifacts. Now, if only there was another combo of 2 artifacts.
Braid, maybe?
No,
Or,
listen,
the
what if
Retriever?
What if there was another combo of 2 artifacts that also could win you the game? Like Painter, Servant, and Grindstone. You're right. So I'm playing Painter, Servant, and Grindstone in case that happens. Oh, but I hear you saying, what if they Snapcaster Mage back their Swords to Plowshares and exile my Painter Servant? Oh, that's too bad. Good thing I have a Plan C. Plan C is... So, okay.
Not so half-baked.
Okay, if I have a plan... if I have a Plan C, the deck is half-baked.
Right, okay.
It's only not half-baked when it's like, take out my Plan C.
Gotcha.
At least when it's my deck.
Right.
So...
I'm like, well, you killed my creature?
Remember?
I got a scoop.
So remember what one of the most important parts of the combo was, right? Which was being able to shuffle your deck over and over again?
Right, the Emrakul.
Yeah, with Emrakul. And I thought, you know what's great about Emrakul?
Tentacles?
What if you could cast it for 3 mana?
That's always good.
I'm playing a show and tell package as my plan C, don't you know? So I got your Emrakul, got your other Emrakul, got that.
Oh, so you're running both. You're running Aeon's Torn and...
Oh, actually, this list doesn't have that one, but it probably could.
You probably should.
Anyway, it's got Progenitus in there. That's what I meant by technically 5 colors, but I'm never casting Progenitus. Actually, wait, do I have Omniscience in this deck? I don't think I do. Okay, no Omniscience, so I'm not casting Progenitus.
Perfect.
But I got like World Spine Worm, got that Kozilek Great Distortion, also known as Senor Wingdings.
Right.
Inkwell Leviathan, good luck swordsing that. And I got that Show and Tell, Sneak Attack, Through the Breach. And,
show and Sneak.
Sneak and Show.
Sneak and Show.
Yeah, Sneak and Show.
I can say it however I want to say it.
Sneak and Show, Through the Breach.
Ooh. It's nasty. It's nasty. I love how
you only need one.
I love how in Ultimate Masters they just went ahead and did the artwork like it was supposed to be. Like
for Through the Breach,
half of an Emrakul like coming through a force field.
You're just like
coming through a portal.
Did you notice
right?
Tahiri was on the art
and
too?
Tahiri
was just like they knew.
Yeah,
they knew.
That's fantastic.
It's great.
Yay.
Anyway, so this deck, I have most of a list. It needs, I don't know, interaction in any way. It has
no, it doesn't.
It has no hand attack, no removal, no counter spells. It at least needs to play like Force of Will and like Flusterstorm probably.
Force of Will feels good.
Flusterstorm Dispel probably.
Flusterstorm feels less good, but I mean
maybe it'll play a null. Are you familiar with this?
Why?
Do you know what a null does?
Yeah.
Because what happens if they thought seize you turn 1? You're not going to dispel their thought seize. You got to annul that.
That's yeah. Okay.
It's great. Totally playable. Speaking of being a playable card, Josh, I think we should move on to our next segment.
Another annul. So playable. You know what? Never mind. I'm not even going to say it. All right. So, moving right along. Playability. What is playability? To start off.
So, playability, in my own terms, not the terms you wrote down.
Come on.
No, I get tongue-tied when I try to read it. So, playability, in my own terms, is the value of a card being good enough in the format or deck that you are in the context that it is worth taking up a slot in your deck.
Got it.
So it is worth its own weight in the deck, as it were.
So, as Bobby Joe Ray Bob would say,
who?
Is it good?
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Is it good?
Is it good?
Is it good?
Is it good? Right?
We're talking about my cards?
No.
I can tell you the answer if it's my cards.
Playability. Is it good?
Is it good?
So how do we determine is it good?
So we got a few main factors to consider when thinking if a card, or trying to figure out if a card is playable. Number one is obviously mana cost.
Okay.
People all around know cheaper cards tend to be better for the same effect.
Right.
You want to spend less for the same effect, that's always good.
Right.
Unless you are trying to counterbalance some big stuff.
Right.
But that's a corner case. But
Emrakul not so playable with counterbalance.
I have a story to tell you after I've gotten some reps with Four Horsemen, okay?
Okay.
Once I get enough reps that I have a good story about that.
I just opened Pandora's deck box, didn't I? Oh, boy. Okay.
I would love to have a deck box that looked like had a bunch of like
demons and stuff inside. Like, good luck opening this. You'll never get it closed.
Like, you have to open it you have to. Like,
and you know what comes out? The Four Horsemen.
The outside looks like a Rubik's Cube, and you have to solve it to open the deck box.
No, because then no one would actually open it.
I would.
No, you wouldn't. Not to get into that. Nah.
Not to get into Pandora's box, probably not. Okay, sorry, we're off topic. Man, we do
Playability.
Playability. Yes. Where were we? So we were on Zit's Good. Oh, yeah.
Zit Good.
So, another thing to consider when looking at a specific card for a format, or decide if it's playable in a format, is you have to think about it in a broad sense. Like, is this good? Typically, when thinking of things in a broad sense, you got to think of them in the context of what other decks in the format are commonly playing.
Okay.
So,
all right. So just because a card is good doesn't mean that you should put it in the deck, because it might not be so good in the format that you're playing, only based upon the fact that it's not good against what other people are playing.
Yeah, and like
in the meta, if you will.
Yeah, and the classic example of this, I don't really know how true this is now. I don't play much Modern, but the classic example is, for a long time in Modern, creatures to be considered worth playing at all had to pass the bolt test, right?
Right.
They had to survive a lightning bolt.
Did it have a bud of 4?
Well, they either had to survive a lightning bolt, be a 1-drop, so they were trading even on mana if they died a lightning bolt, or their effect was just so powerful that it was worth it, like Snapcaster Mage or Dark Confidant. Those got in even though they died a bolt, but that's just because their effects are so powerful.
Right.
And obviously they're cards that died to bolt got played, otherwise people wouldn't play bolt. Like, but you had to really consider, is this worth playing?
Right.
Because so many people are playing bolt. Lightning bolt, that is. But it's important to think about how the cards you're evaluating look in the context of the format. Now, that being said, some cards that are quote-unquote bad in the context of the format might be very, very good in the context of your deck.
Okay.
So, for example...
Let's give an example on that one.
So, this last week at a weekly Highlander, I was playing Glimpse of Nature combo.
Okay.
Spoilers for those who listened to last week's episode. We recorded these a day apart. Because I talked about this deck then too.
You just broke the fourth wall.
I don't see any walls, Josh.
Continue.
So I was playing Glimpse of Nature combo, which is a lot like Legacy Elves, as I'm told. I don't play Legacy. But there are some cards that you play in that deck that are very, very not good.
Right.
Just because...
I'm familiar with most of those.
They are just...
Actually not good cards.
Just because you need a density of elf. Well, not necessarily elves. You need a density of mana dorks, typically elves, typically druids.
Right.
So, like, I think... I don't remember exactly what it's called. I'll pull up an image if I can remember, but I think it's called... I don't remember what it's called. It's 1 and a green for a 2/1 elf druid. Maybe it's a warrior that just taps for a green mana. It's just like a worse land war elves.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it has an extra point of power, but you're not typically you're not attacking with these unless you're
is it like I think there's a Lawn War Envoy. I mean, there's 20 million Land Wars.
I don't know why you thought Googling Land War would help.
Oh, be
not
quiet.
Googling Star Citying Land War would help.
Yeah, you're welcome for trying to help you. Move on.
No, I'll find it out. We'll figure it out later. But point is, that is really not that great in the context of the format. Because
it's a 2-drop, basically.
Yeah, I mean...
Why would you play the 2-drop if you can get it done with Arbor Elf or Sylvan Caryatid, who does just a much better job?
Yeah, well, that one's not a druid or an elf, which is kind of relevant.
So what's Sylvan Caryatid? Is that a...
It's a plant.
But you know what I mean. It gets the same thing done, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, in the context of that deck, you have multiple...
Oh, I see. Continuing with the elves.
Yeah, you have multiple creatures that tap for mana equal to the number of elves you control.
Oh, I see.
And you have 2 cards you play that care about the keyword druid on the card.
Okay.
So that's why...
You can see who was paying attention to what was being said and who was reading the notes.
Yeah, I can tell. But... So even though that card, in the context of the format, is honestly bad because it dies to almost every piece of removal anybody plays. Mm-hmm. Actually, let me think for a second. There is no removal that I can think of that people play on Highlander that this creature does not die to.
Uh-huh. There's removal that people don't play in Highlander that... I think it dies to that too.
I think it dies to that too.
Yeah.
It does not get countered by mental misstep. There's that. It does, however, get hit by spell snare.
Right.
Which is played a little more than mental misstep.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, there's a lot of ways that this thing dies. It also dies to half of a lot of red burn spells that see play, because there's a lot of split burn spells that see play in the format. But because this card is not super great in the general context of the format, that doesn't mean it's bad and unplayable completely, because in this deck
we need those keywords elf, druid, and it
needs
helps that it's a dork.
It needs to tap for mana.
Right.
And yeah, if it was a 1-drop, that'd be much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it had 2 toughness, that'd be much better. Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. We need a density of these creatures for the deck to
make
work.
Sure we're hitting those drops.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that we can tap for just
I can tell you though
stupid amount of elf green.
Yes. And here's the thing. There is a couple 2-drops that make mana that we do prefer having on board most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Drover of the Mighty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a human. Or sorry, not an elf. It is a human. It is a druid though, but it taps for any color mana.
Right.
So a lot of the time we would rather have that on board than the other one, because the other one, though it's an elf, it only makes green, and we are a 3-color deck.
Okay.
Base green, and I'm going to say a solid, 80% of the non-land cards are green.
Mm-hmm.
But you still need to have some dorks that, though they're not elves, do create the colors you need.
Right.
So
once again, enhancing their playability, not necessarily in general, but format context. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about actual value and relative value. I know that sounds a lot like what we were just talking about.
And yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a gray area, so
it really
the whole
is.
thing's gonna fade together a little bit.
So how does actual value and relative value work? Is there such a thing in cardboard crack? I mean, when you look at, let's say you go to Card Kingdom, TCG Player, Star City Games, you look up the price of a card. Does that mean it's a good card and you should play it?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Everyone who's ever taken an economics course has learned something or other about supply versus demand.
Right. Where's the difference? Okay, so
Portal 3 Kingdoms. That's where the difference
is. Okay, right. That makes sense. So let's tell people who don't know what that means.
Well, supply of demand or Portal 3 Kingdoms?
With the Portal 3 Kingdoms.
So Portal 3 Kingdoms,
I know what you're talking about. I'm a collector. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you know what year Portal 3 Kingdoms came out? I don't know.
I mean,
collector.
No, I don't know when it came out. I just know that I wasn't collecting in that era.
Well, the point is, Portal 3 Kingdoms, there are a lot of cards that are fine in that set. Mm-hmm. And they are wildly expensive.
99.
Okay.
1999.
I was born that year.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, I did not collect in that time frame.
All good.
So,
anyway, point is, there are a lot of cards in that set that are, like I said, fine.
Right.
And
they're decent cards.
Playable.
Mm-hmm.
But they are wildly expensive just because of how immensely low the supply is for the demand.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. I can think of at least 2 cards off the top of my... 2.5 cards off the top of my head that have almost identical or completely identical copies with a different name from a different set that are so much cheaper.
They do the exact same thing.
So, example, the card Nature's Lore, that is 1 in a green. Or I'm not. Do you know what it does? All right, well, it's a ramp spell. It's like Rampant Growth, but it gets a forest that it can be untapped.
Got it.
It doesn't have to be basic.
Love it.
So
that's playable.
Oh, very. It's very good. There's a card from Portal 3 Kingdoms called 3 Wishes. Nature's Lore, I want to say it's like probably sub $5. I believe 3 Wishes is more than 100. And it's... Hey, you're going to have to... He just typed number 3 and then wishes instead of spelling it out.
I don't want to talk about it.
So 3 Wishes...
No, that's Visions.
Well, that's not
Doesn't
right.
even have Portal 3 Kingdoms on
What's
there.
Is it not called 3 Wishes? Well, that isn't it. Well, what card am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I could have sworn it was called 3.
I'm sure glad I looked it up because you just stuck your foot in your mouth.
Oh, 3 visits.
3
It's 3 visits.
3 visits.
Yeah, 3 visits.
3
My bad.
visits.
My bad.
Ah, you're fired.
Okay, it's
$80.
$80. Now look up Nature's Lore.
Okay.
We're using Star City Games, by the way.
Yeah, that's just what I had up because I was reading.
There's an apostrophe in Nature's. Yeah.
Oops, I misclicked.
All right, technical difficulties as Josh figures out how to use a computer.
Shut up. It's this keyboard. It's so small.
It's all good. All right, Nature's Lore. Weighing in at a whopping $350.
Oh, I have those.
Oh, you let me buy... Oh, I got the Rebecca Gay art, so... Yeah, that one, but I got the... I think I got this one.
Yeah, those are pretty.
Yeah, I got
Portal.
the Portal one. Portal, not nearly as expensive. not Portal 3.
Not Portal 3 Kingdoms.
Yeah, but so you should play those in your ramp deck. That was so bad. You should play one of those in your ramp deck. Go get your stomping ground. So the idea of having or a card being expensive only because of what it does.
Price. So what you're
really
saying is, let me read through some of the words here. Actual value, relative value is a thing because you have to take into account on some cards, print run,
basic economics,
rarity.
Yeah,
literally not like what WotC tells us is rare or what the card says is actually rare, but how rare the actual cards are.
100%.
100%. All right, so there is such a thing.
If anyone's curious, I have another example from Portal 3. The card Time Warp. It's a 5-mana sorcery.
I like taking extra turns.
I'm aware that you like taking extra turns. Time Warp. About $15, depending on which one you're looking at. About $15.
Mm-hmm.
The card. This card did just get reprinted. Temporal Manipulation. It just got reprinted. I think it's about. You can get one for $30 from the Ultimate Masters one.
Oh, that's that butterfly sundial looking thing. Yeah.
Oh, this is actually from Portal Second Age. So,
but still,
yeah. I mean, the original one $70.
Right.
And that's after the reprint.
Right.
I believe, and I was wrong last time I said this, but I'm pretty sure it was over 100 before the reprint, and it says the exact same thing, same converted mana cost, same rules text. The only thing that's different is the name.
Got it.
So
there you go. Very good example.
Yeah. So that is one upsetting thing about trying to build certain decks in Highlander. We need a certain density of these cards. So you can only play one copy of each card.
Right.
But when you
sometimes
find these
you
random
have to,
things.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to pull them from obscurity.
The darkest corners.
The darkest corners are the rarest of the rare sets. So we look at playability, we look at format and what the format or the meta needs it to be, needs it to have. We also look at actual and relative value. What are some other things that we look at? Let's go with versatility versus raw power, right? So where do these cards fit in? What makes a card, what part of versatility and raw power do we see as it adds to playability for cards?
Now, part of this actually, depending on what kind of deck you're playing, versatility may be less useful to you. It's useful to everyone, but depending on specifically what you're playing, versatility may just not really be what you're looking for.
Right. So, for example, split cards.
Going straight to the split cards.
Going straight to the split cards. Versatile. You draw one card. There's several different things on there. Okay. No, it's not a
cryptic command.
A cryptic command, right? Which you have all of the options available to you. Do you want to win the game this way, or do you want to win the game this way? Do you want to pick 2?
It doesn't say win the game.
Do you want to pick 7? How much does this cost?
Cost 2 blue.
2 blue mana?
No, wait. It costs 3 blue.
3 blue.
I just said 2 blue.
2 blue.
Oh my goodness! If cryptic costs 2 blue.
Yeah, right. Broken. It'd be the power 10. Yes, please. So split cards, very versatile. Playable.
That depends. An example of this isn't a literal split card, but
no. Josh says no.
Josh says
no.
Some are playable.
There's
I'm playing one
two split cards that I like.
I was playing one in Glimpse of Nature combo. It was Beck and Call because the first half is just Glimpse of Nature for an extra blue mana. I cast the second side too. You cast them both and you draw 4 cards. It's good stuff. All right, so let me give you an example of when versatility is actually not quite as good as raw power.
Okay.
Mono red.
Right. How did I know we were going there?
I'm just saying. So a card that we can both agree is a very good versatile card. Abrade.
Abrade. Very good.
Agree.
Very good card.
It can be a very efficient creature removal spell, as well as if you're against a combo deck or something.
That's right.
Or control that have just no creatures on board, just blow up their favorite artifact.
That's right. Get rid of that soul ring. Gosh, someone abraded my my top. I almost...
You didn't flip it in response?
No, I did, but it ruined my board state.
I see. I thought you were saying they abraded it in response to
No. They abraded, forced me to flip and put it on top. I hit a miracle on top that I couldn't cast until next turn when I was untapping.
Too bad, so sad.
Really irked me.
Well, anyway,
That was Chad. Chad made me mad.
He'll be fine. So, the reason that Abrade, and now I'm not saying you could not play it in mono red. Like I said last episode, I'm not really the resident aggro player for the metagame.
Right.
But one reason you may not want to play it in mono red, even though it is, we can both agree, a very powerful, very good card, is it doesn't fit with the deck's game plan.
Right.
That being, kill you in the face till you stop moving.
Right.
Right. A break can't hit the face.
Right.
A lot of decks are going to have creatures to block, and you're going to want to use it to kill those creatures. But you can't always count on that. And mono red is a deck that you really don't want to be having dead cards.
Right. You just want to do as much damage as you can, as fast as you can.
Exactly. So, now let's just go off on a small tangent here. Mm-hmm. Let's imagine we both agree versatility is very good.
I am a huge component of versatility. I like
proponent. I
like my cards to be able to do multiple different things, and I just absolutely love my 3 favorite words. Draw a card.
Oh, buddy, I'm gonna have a deck to loan you in a couple weeks.
I just absolutely love it, which is why I'm a proponent of blue-white control. Because there's lots of versatility.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. You like versatility. You like control. And you like multiple colors. What if have you ever heard of...
If you say the word 5-color, I will punch you.
Have you heard of the Lucky Charms deck?
Oh, God.
It is 5-color charm.
Colors.
It's 5-color charm control. You play like all the good charms.
I hate you so much.
No, you get to play like...
I'm intrigued.
Esper Charm says draw 2 cards on it.
Yeah.
It also blows up an enchantment.
You know what? I do like all those charms. I have a couple shiny charms, too.
You get to play your shiny charms?
I get to play some shiny charms.
You get to play the goldest deck you ever seen.
Okay.
Most of the charms are gold.
I know.
You get to play Planeswalkers because they have modes, so they count as modal cards. You get to play Snapcaster Mage because he has different modes, which is everything in your graveyard. You get to play Ruhana the Fomori because according to Liam, don't remember his last name from North 100, it says randomly, quote, choose a player or choose an opponent, and it attacks them. So you don't know who it's going to attack. Probably your one opponent, but you don't know that. So it says choose, so you get to play it.
Right.
Anyway, that deck, I have not played it myself, but I plan to build it soon, and you are welcome to give it a whirl if you're interested.
I'm excited. Except for that whole 5-color thing,
look, you can juggle a 5-color mana base.
I'm not worried about juggling it. I'm worried about getting screwed. I get screwed with 1-color mana base.
You're not playing enough fetch lands. But how do you get screwed out of 1 color?
Correct.
You know what? I don't want to talk about it. All right, let's
dead draws. It's called dead draws.
Maybe if you were playing more Esper Charms, you wouldn't have that problem.
I don't want to talk.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about. We did talk a little bit about format dependent cards, but I have a couple examples about that to share with you.
Okay.
So, some cards are just playable everywhere. Lightning Bolt, for example, playable wherever you.
Right.
Every format it's legal in, you should probably be playing.
I have a Lightning Bolt in my blue-white control deck.
You do.
I really do.
So, that's an example of a card that is just widely playable everywhere.
Good.
Some cards, obviously, are not as good in some formats as they are in others.
Right.
For an example, you're familiar with the card, can't remember what it's called. What's the burn spell that they're using?
Are you familiar with this card?
Nah, not by name.
Apparently not.
What's the burn spell they're using in Standard right now? It's the 2-mana one. Does like 4 damage. Lava Coil. Lava Coil. At least I think they're playing
Lava Spike?
No, that's not in Standard. That just deals 3 to the dome. I think it's Lava Coil. I don't play Standard. Neither do you.
From what set?
It's from Rivals. No, not Rivals. It's from Guilds of Ravnica. We're checking.
This one?
Yeah, look, it's $3. They gotta be playing. Wait, it's $3? I got some of those. Let me get rid of those. All right, so Lava Coil, yeah. So, like...
You heard it here first. Unload your Lava Coil.
I mean, like, take a look at it. It's not the best burn spell that's out there.
Right.
But... And so, like, you wouldn't consider that modern
You know what
playable.
that hits, though? You know why that's $3?
Well, it already hit the Phoenix.
That's what I'm saying.
But it exiles the
It
Phoenix.
exiles the Phoenix.
Yeah. So
Yay.
that's not really something you would necessarily expect to be seeing in Modern.
Right.
Because you got better things to be doing with 2 mana in Modern, right?
Right.
But in Standard, you don't have access to those better things. You don't have access to Path to Exile. You don't have access to this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to use what's available to you. That's an example of something that, yeah, it's playable in Standard.
In Standard.
Not so much in Modern, not so much in this or that.
Right.
So, but now it's kind of easy to see how when you're constrained on the cards you can play, why they'd be good in some formats, good or another, or bad in others. But in other formats like Highlander, there are cards that are good in Highlander, not because they're not legal anywhere else, just because of the nature of the format. They're good.
Right.
So, an example of that would be the card Tainted Pact.
Okay.
Because when you're playing, it's not legal in Modern and Forward due to, I think it was printed in, I want to say Visions. I don't think that's right. Do you want to check? It doesn't matter. I'm just curious. But this card, it requires you to have no duplicates in your deck for it to function consistently.
Okay.
Oh, it's Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey. Yeah, that one. Well, in Highlander, the only duplicates you're going to have, barring some sort of weird Shadowborn Apostle or Relentless Rat deck, is basic lands. So you can build your deck so you have basic lands. You only have 1 copy of your basic lands.
Right.
Or, pro tip, if you need, like, for example, you need to be playing 2 basic swamps, play a basic swamp and a snow-covered swamp.
Right.
Because they do have different names.
Or one of the artifact.
Well, you
swamps.
can't. I mean, you can't tutor that like a basic though. I mean, if you need to have basics to tutor or something,
Oh, yeah,
like
I guess that's true.
Fetch them or something.
Yeah, you could just tutor it up some other way.
I don't want to use my demonic tutor on something I have to fetch land for. Okay, you get the point. All right.
I get the point.
Wait, let me get this straight. You want to play? You want to be able? You want to spend your demonic tutor on getting an artifact basic,
No.
so you can play Tainted Pact?
Yes.
You're wasting your time. Look.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
But the point is,
Is it good?
Is it no?
No.
Is it bad? So this card is very good in Highlander when you can really easily build your deck to accommodate it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not playable in Legacy and Vintage. Well, it's not legal in Pauper. It's a rare, I think. Yeah, so it wouldn't be legal in Pauper.
Right.
Or like $25 Vintage, for example. It's not good in those formats because you're wanting to play 4 ofs, 3 ofs, and it's just not happening.
Right. Okay.
So, that's another example of a format relevant thing. I just kicked your foot. Sorry. Trying to think of other specific things that are only good due to meta type things.
Okay. Well, how about cards that are extremely similar to one another? Flame Slash, Shock, Bolt. I could go on. Lightning Strike, Lava Spike.
Yeah, and then this does fall into the versatility versus raw power kind of thing, where, like, obviously, if you're comparing Shock to Lightning Bolt, I could not think of a single time I would rather have Shock than Lightning Bolt. Can you?
No.
But
unless you're playing Singleton.
right. Well, I mean,
just
then you're
want-
playing both. You're not.
Right.
I'm saying
Would
in
you
the
prefer
one
one
slot.
than the
Yeah.
other? Right.
Now Flame Slash, it can kill more things than Lightning Bolt can.
Right.
It kills Courser Crucifix. It kills Kalitas before it gets counters. It kills Loxodon Smiter. It kills. The list goes on.
Right.
But for one, I believe it's a sorcery. That may be a filthy lie, actually. But regardless of that, it is much less versatile in the fact that it can only hit creatures. You can't throw it at their face.
You can't throw it at the face.
Throw it at their planeswalkers, which sometimes you really, really need to be doing. Yeah, and Flame
it's a
Slash
sorcery.
is a sorcery. So,
Slower.
Flame Slash,
Much slower.
excellent card. Very playable, very efficient. But it is kind of necessary to look at what you want to be doing with your deck. A lot of the time, you'll be playing both Flame Slash and Lightning Bolt in a red mid-range style deck. Talking Highlander like usual. But if you're playing Burn in Modern, you're not playing Flame Slash to kill X, Y, or Z. Maybe you'll throw them in the sideboard, I don't know. But you're not... Your game plan isn't, I'm going to have this Flame Slash in my hand.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be doing that.
Right.
You want to be having everything going at the face. So you're playing Lava Spikes because you plan on hitting them in the face with everything you've got. So,
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, there are some other examples where you would forego being more versatile in order to be more efficient. Do you have an example?
How about some removal?
More removal?
More removal. Well,
not damage-based.
Not damage-based removal. I'm thinking pushes, planks, murder, fatal push, walk the plank, murder.
I think we can reasonably agree fatal push is the best of those three.
I mean, fatal push is pretty fantastic. I really, really liked walk the plank. I really liked it. Slower, yes.
Actually, I want to move on to that last out of these three.
Uh-huh.
Because fatal push,
Fatal push is fantastic. And I'm not saying walk the plank is better than fatal push. Obviously,
I know.
I'm not going to say that live on the interwebs.
You'd be crucified.
I just really, really liked walk the plank. I thought it was a great card. Almost as much as I like Skullduggery.
Oh, jeez. So,
Skullduggery.
Now, some people may ask,
unsung hero.
How can you say fatal push is better than murder when you have to jump through all these hoops for fatal push to even kill certain things?
Right.
Well, dear viewer, if you somehow haven't heard the news, 1 mana is less than 3.
Right.
And a lot of the time, especially when you're playing more competitive formats, you can't afford to be waiting to spend 3 mana to kill something important. All right.
That's right.
You need to be able to. Your removal needs to be efficient. It needs to be, as versatile as you can make it for that efficient cost. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if you're planning on using it as removal, Flame Slash is almost always going to be better than Lightning Bolt.
Right.
But you're not going to be able to kill a Tarmogoyf with either of those a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take much for Goyf to get out of range of Flame Slash and Bolt. Mm-hmm. But Fatal Push will always be able to kill Tarmogoyf. It'll always be able to take care of Tarmogoyf.
Which is fan-freaking-tastic.
Now, what about... Let's say I had a Knight of the Reliquary.
Okay.
And had a couple lands in my graveyard. It's a 5/5.
5/5. But it doesn't matter because we're talking about CMC.
Exactly. Red removal isn't going to be able to take care of that. Mm-hmm. Fatal Push can once I get Revolt off of it. Mm-hmm. And one thing a lot of people may not realize if you're newer to more competitive formats is Revolt isn't as hard to get as you might think. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people playing fetch lands. They're playing maybe certain permanents that they sacrifice for value on purpose. Like you could play what's it called? The Green Seal. You sacrifice it to naturalize something. You know, like if you have a lot of Revolt things in your deck, you could play that. Seal of Primordium, I think. It's
okay,
called.
Yeah. When you say naturalize, I just think of the card Naturalize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's 2 mana enchantment. You sacrifice to naturalize something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of naturalize. I couldn't think of the seal.
We're good. We're good. Anyway, so murder, though, just the text on the card, more powerful than Fatal Push.
Right.
But the fact that it costs 3 mana is too much to make it worth playing over Fatal Push.
Right.
Almost any time. I'm sure there are exceptions, but not really. Now, I want to go back to what you said about Walk the Plank. Mm-hmm. Is Walk the Plank is going to hit almost everything that Murder is going to hit.
Right.
Almost everything. And it's going to hit almost everything and most things that... it's going to hit almost everything Fatal Push does and almost everything Fatal Push doesn't hit. Mm-hmm. Now, Walk the Plank, the reason it's on the list next to Murder is because it costs less mana.
Right.
Right? It costs less mana than Murder.
Right. Double black.
And it hits almost everything. So
right.
Most of the time, I would rather play Walk the Plank than Murder.
Right.
Here's the thing. Consistently getting 2 black mana to spend on your removal spell can be tough, especially if you want to be casting other spells in that turn or this or that. So, I would much rather play something like Go for the Throat over walk the plank, just because maybe it has a few, like maybe they're gonna. I think you're more likely gonna be up against an artifact creature than you are a merfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Not counting True Name Nemesis, but he doesn't care
But
about
that
it.
doesn't
He doesn't
matter
care
anyway,
about our removal anyway.
He's not targeted.
So you could accidentally name yourself, I guess. But go for the throat. Yeah, you're probably gonna run into more things it can't target than walk the plank can't target, but you're gonna have a much better time casting go for the throat. Not to mention go for the throat's an instant.
Right.
And that's pretty relevant too.
Very good. All right. Well, I think that covers playability pretty well.
I think so.
Okay. So, moving right
we-
along. I've been waiting for this all night.
Oh, good. We may have to go a little bit quick through this. We're a little
You
short
have
on
talked
time.
enough. So,
I have.
let's see. Last week we took a look at the first installment of my junior editions. Okay, these are
Oh, I came up with a fun name for that, by the way.
goofy little decks. What?
Bulk box. Oh, I had a something. I think it was bulk box brews.
Bulk box brews.
Yeah.
See, I like junior edition because they really are. It's like junior. When you gonna grow up and be something good?
Like a searing blaze.
Like it, yeah. Hey, searing
right,
blaze is good. I really like searing blaze.
Oh, it's
anyway,
it's good.
so what these are is I really enjoy buying bulk boxes just because I like to hold cardboard. Okay, I like to look through them. I appreciate artwork. I like having 12 different copies with 12 different versions of art on them. I don't think that's actually an accurate number, but you get what I'm saying.
There's got to be one or two.
Also, I have kids going in and out of my house all the time, and I don't want them to be sitting fiddling around with my, with my good decks or Ash's Snapcaster Mage. So I make them.
Oh, I forgot you had that.
I make them decks, and they usually run between the $10 and $15 range. So last week we went over a cute little red deck wins. This week, with some of the newer Ravnica editions being put into bulk boxes, I have one that I have dubbed Golgari Graveyard. So what it kind of does, I mean, you obviously black and green, and what we're looking at doing is putting cards into the graveyard, and then casting Rhizome Lurcher, Molder Hulk for cheaper. We have Nyx Weaver to, first of all, put things there, get them back. We have Glowspore Shaman to help us ramp and also get things into our graveyard. We have a full set of Okran Assassin, because that Death Touch plus Titanic Growth really feels good when they have to block with whatever they have sitting over there, and you just swing in and make them block. And if there's just one of you need to get rid of something, swing in with your Okran Assassin, whatever else you have. They have to block that Okran Assassin. Death Touch gets rid of both. Or if you want to pump it, and basically it's a 3-mana board wipe. Well, I guess it would be a 5-mana total if you add on the Titanic Growth, but
Across 2 turns.
across 2 turns, that's not bad.
Don't cut no haste.
So we also put in a couple of Pilfering Imps, just for that. It's kind of like its own little Richard pitch there. A couple Tashana Wayfinders and 2 Whisper Blood Liturgist, because, I mean, it's just spicy. Swampy. So we're running a full playset of Titanic Growth, 3 Blood Divination, 3 Altar's Reap, 4 Treasured Find, and 4 Grisly Salvage. And those are, because we're just mucking around in the graveyard. So, this...
Golgari? Muck? No.
Yeah, right? So this deck is running from Card Kingdom in the $12.50 range. It is absolutely
you did better than last time.
I know. That's a full dollar less than last week.
Did you count the non-basic lands?
I didn't actually count the non-basics, but once again, we're running 20 because our curve is not really high. Those Molder Hulks, we really don't want to be casting those for less than 4, or I mean for more than 4. It's
You'd love to cast them for less than 4.
I would love to cast them for less than 4, but it's a 8-drop 6/6. It's 7 and
they can see the card.
Whatever. Anyway, you get the idea. Those Rhizome Lurchers, I've had a couple of those on the battlefield as 10-10, 9-9 and 10-10. They're fantastic for a 4-drop. So, what this needs to make it, excuse me, a real deck, it needs removal. The Okran Assassins really doesn't get the job done consistently.
May I recommend Fatal Push?
Fatal Push would be fantastic. You know, Walk the Plank does a pretty good job, too. Anyway.
Is the deck base black?
What?
Is it base black?
It is base black, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
maybe.
I think it was 8 forests and 12 swamps.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I counted the curve. I don't remember. I didn't write the I
Wait.
didn't write the lands down.
It's all good.
So things that would also be good in this deck would be things with the mechanical flashback, unearth, even delirium, and of course, as I see here, someone has altered my notes. Splash blue for a snappy.
I recall telling you not to write that down, so I believe that was all you. And you know,
Not my idea.
Snapcaster Mage, clearly a budget include.
Clearly.
No. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's
you know what
the
else?
junior
You
edition.
could also play some Delve Threats.
You know what? And since you're throwing me under the bus, I'm going to throw you under the bus. Ash has had the great idea that we should start giving these decks, these junior editions, away as giveaways, possibly for our puzzler.
I said if
correct
we get enough,
answers.
if we get enough participation, I feel like that would be a great thing to give
Oh
away.
my goodness, giving away my babies. $12, I can afford it. All right, so moving along. So
Wait, we could both sign every card.
every single card.
Do it like once a month.
Oh, there you go. Maybe.
That'd be fun.
We'll talk about it. So,
Tell us in the comments if you like that idea or not.
we have a new puzzler. But first, we need to take a look at the puzzler from last week.
Would
So,
you like me to give the rundown of the last one?
no, I'm going to recap this. You're going to give the new one.
Okay, are you going to give the answer to the old one?
Yeah.
Last week's one? Okay.
Yeah.
Please
So,
do.
quick recap from last week, the puzzler. Opponent has 17 life. A Ghetto Kalitas, Trader of Get.
I saw you debate whether or not to
I
read that
really
verbatim.
did, with some counters on it. You have access to all 5 colors. A couple of hands. A couple of hands and cards.
A couple of hands in your cards.
Yep, a couple of cards in hand, specifically Bolt Giant Growth. 2 creatures on the board, a Kiln Fiend and a Wee Dragamot. Okay, so we asked what one card that fits into the deck was 4 color plus 1 prowess. Okay, what card fits in this deck? What card do we need to draw to do lethal damage this turn? Okay.
Now, may I provide some potential answers that may have been given?
Sure.
So some potential answers that may have been given are Assault Strobe.
Okay.
That is definitely worth playing. That gives the creature double strike.
Okay.
Teamer Battle Rage.
That won't get it done, though. Yep. Teamer Battle Rage gets you almost there.
Would it not be no, hold on. No, because it's... Yeah, that's lethal.
What? Teamer Battle Rage?
Yeah. It gives him double strike. And
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the
trigger.
prowess triggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, Teamer Battle Rage is... There were a couple correct answers here. Teamer Battle Rage was correct. Was a valid answer. Assault Strobe was a valid answer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will accept Battle Mastery. While I will not play it in the deck, I briefly considered it when putting the list together. So, therefore, I cannot fault anyone who gives that as an answer. But the spiciest card that I was actually looking for as an answer was Tainted Strike.
Okay.
It is the second chocolate chip on this deck. If you recall, there were 2 chocolate chips, 2 black cards in the list, and this was the second one.
On top of the 4-color ice cream sundae.
Yes, yes. Oh, by the way, we looked for pistachio ice cream. We could not find any anywhere.
Okay, you looked for it.
I was trying to give you credit.
I'm going to go to Kroger and find it.
Okay, so if he finds it, then episode 3, I'll try pistachio ice cream. But I looked for it today. I couldn't find any. I looked for about, I don't know. I looked for a solid 30 seconds. It really...
That's why you didn't find it at Kroger. It's hiding.
Well,
there, it's gone. Okay, so Tainted Strike. Walk us through it. How does that win?
So, Tainted Strike, with your prowess triggers, will... So the typical way you're going to win is you're going to be, in this scenario, is you're going to be winning with your Wee Dragonauts.
Right.
Because it is unrealistic to try and get through Kalitas on the ground. You don't even want to attack with your Kiln Fiend, honestly, because they'll just block with the Kalitas and gain...
That life link, though.
Yeah, it'll gain 5 life, which is bad news bears. But if, for example, you could get in with your Wee Dragonauts for enough damage to be lethal, don't even have to attack with the Kiln Fiends.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you think about it, how every spell you cast gives an additional 2 power, right?
Right.
So if you go Lightning Bolt them, they go to 14.
Right.
And you have a 3 power creature.
Mm-hmm.
Giant Grow Through creature, it gets an additional 5 power total, puts it up to 8 power.
Okay.
And then if you were to cast Assault Strobe or Team of Battle Rage, it goes up to 10 power and you have Double Strike.
Okay.
And that's lethal.
Right.
Additionally, if you replace just the Double Strike spell with Tainted Strike, it does a very similar thing to Double Strike, where if you hit them all at once, you can, if you do 10 all at once, you just kill them.
Right.
So, it doesn't matter. And theoretically, you could still attack the Kiln for them because you don't care how much life they have, but that is enough to lethal them all at once.
I really like the Tainted Strike into the 10+ infect poison counters. That's pretty spicy win right there.
I mean, what's really sick,
especially with a flyer.
If you just have Wee Dragonauts have like nothing on board, you just draw like, I don't know. Ideally, this deck would be playing Recall.
Right.
So if you just like draw Recall, draw like you play Recall, draw like lands, Tainted Strike, Assault Strobe. And then just go, okay, land, Tainted Strike, Assault Strobe, I'm going to Wee Dragonauts, just kill them out of nowhere.
Right.
It'd be pretty hot.
Love it. Love it. It's kind of like a...
Actually, let me think.
Highlander version of Crackling Drake.
You don't even need... Oh, this deck probably can try to play Crackling Drake.
I mean, it sounds like it almost should.
Look, I'm not going to build a 5-color deck and not play a red, blue, blue spell. That's dumb. I have so many lands that make those colors of mana.
All right, so that's the answer there. Thank you, everyone who submitted your answers. Good luck to those of you who got it wrong. We'll figure things out for prizing
when we
eventually.
Get more participation.
Yeah.
See how much we get.
All right, so new puzzler. What do you have for us this week?
All right, so this week you are playing Bant Blade Midrange.
Okay.
Which is basically a very creature-oriented, value-based deck in green, white, blue. You're not doing much in the disruption realm. You're playing a couple counter spells and like one disruptive creature. I think you're playing Thalia.
Okay.
Besides that,
I love Thalia.
Yeah, but a 2-mana Thalia. Mm-hmm. But you're really, for the most part, just being a fair deck and hoping your fair stuff is better than whatever your opponent's doing.
Okay.
And when I say creature based, I mean even most of your removals creature based, which is like you're playing Fiend Hunter and what's the 4-mana one? Palace Jailer.
Got it.
Monarch.
Yep.
Very, very good. And you're still playing like Swords and Path though. So your goal in this puzzle is you need to win the game by turn 3.
Okay.
By the end of turn 3.
By the end of turn 3. Okay.
And, your opening hand.
Okay.
Is 3 lands. You have Breeding Pool, Plains, and Botanical Sanctum.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 3 non-lands, which is Devoted Druid, Worldly Tutor, and Green Sun Zenith.
Okay.
So you need to, by the end of your third turn, you need to have won using, or that's all the information you have to you, and you mulligan to 6 and scry to the bottom.
Okay.
Scry, I don't know, basic forest to the bottom.
Basic forest went to the bottom. Okay.
Irrelevant card went to the bottom.
Okay, fine.
So,
so we need to figure out by the end of turn 3, how do we win?
Yeah.
With that grip, what do we need to draw?
Yep.
Okay.
Now there's a very specific line I have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be a little more strict on this one than I was in the last one.
Okay.
Honestly. So if you come up with something completely wild that I would still play,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I might just let it slide.
Okay.
But for the most part, I have a pretty specific idea in mind for the answer to this one.
Got it.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck, everybody. Good luck figuring that out, because I sure as heck could not.
Did you even understand it once I explained it to you?
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't have ever come up with it on my own.
I see.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week's episode.
Yep. I have not been Josh.
I'm definitely not Ash.
Make sure to like, subscribe, share with all your friends. Follow on Twitter if you're interested. Make sure and let people know about your favorite cardboard talking nerds. And I think that's about it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do the things, and we'll see you next week.
Y'all have a good week. See you later.